Canada is heading to the polls on Monday, and what looked like game over for the Liberals could turn into an astounding comeback. A little earlier, I spoke with Abacus Group CEO David Coletto to get a latest look at the opinion polls. David, good morning and welcome to News Breakfast.
Good morning, James. Great to be here.
First of all, can you just remind us where things sat in terms of the opinion polls only a few months ago, before Donald Trump was sworn in as president and when Justin Trudeau was still the Prime Minister of Canada?
Yeah, so at the end of the last year, we basically had the Conservatives ahead of the Liberals, who were in office, by 25 points in our polls. Only 12% of Canadians thought that the Liberals and Justin Trudeau deserved to be re-elected. And pretty much everybody in Canada was expecting that Pierre Poilievre, who's the Conservative leader and leader of the opposition, was going to be the next Prime Minister of Canada whenever that election came. So there was a pretty clear sense that Canadians were unhappy with the Liberals, and Justin Trudeau was not going to get re-elected if he had that chance.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like a wipeout if you look at those polls. And now, so close to voting day, what do your surveys show now?
Yeah, well, we're showing actually the Liberals having a slight lead. They've got about, in our last survey, a 3-point lead nationally. And that's going to likely be enough for the Liberals to win a majority. So they went from certain defeat to likely victory in the course of 4 months, something we've never seen in Canada before. I don't know if it's happened in most parts of the world, and it's a pretty remarkable thing. Our heads are kind of spinning here in Canada about how fast public opinion has changed.
Does that mean that Mark Carney is very likely to remain the Prime Minister? Will he be able to govern in a majority? Is there a chance he might have to work with a couple of smaller parties?
Well, the odds are that he's going to be able to win a majority. There's still a chance, though. One of our provinces in Quebec, the French-speaking province where I'm in right now, there's some indication that perhaps the polls are tightening in this province, which would increase the likelihood of a minority government. But there's still, I think, a pretty good sense that on Monday we're going to see a majority government come out of this, and therefore Mark Carney is going to have very little resistance to him governing for the next 4 years.
So let's get to the elephant in the room. The president in the room is probably a better way of putting it. How much of this is down to the unpopularity of Donald Trump versus the popularity of the new Prime Minister, Mark Carney?
Donald Trump really changed the trajectory of the election here. I mean, when he started, saying that he wanted, and he said it just again this week, that he thought Canada would be better off being the 51st state. Then, like the rest of the world, we started grappling with the potential impact of his tariffs. And so those two things, and to keep in mind, James, like Canada and the United States, like we saw ourselves as their closest friends, their closest allies. There was a deep sense of betrayal right across this country with what the US and the Trump administration was doing. And so the result was we went from being only worried about the cost of living and the cost of housing to actually being worried about whether our country would even exist. And that created the space for the former Bank of Canada governor, the former central banker from the UK, coming along, never being elected to anything, and being this kind of safe harbor for a lot of Canadians. And I think that fundamentally changed the race. So Justin Trudeau had to quit, and then Donald Trump doing what he did completely upended Canadian politics.
Just finally, before I let you go, did this also damage the brand of the Canadian Conservative Party as well, which had at times kind of embraced elements of Trumpism? We've seen accusations of a very similar thing here in Australia in our own federal election. Obviously, we're going to the polls just a week after Canada.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of parallels, actually, that a lot of Canadians look at the way that Pierre Poilievre, our Conservative leader, campaigns, the way that he talked. I mean, he's running with a slogan, Canada First. There's so much similarities that it really, I think, turned off a lot of Canadians. Now, Poilievre still has his fans, and he's going to do probably better than any Conservative leader has done in the last two elections. But what we've seen is our smaller parties have basically disintegrated, and all of those supporters have rallied around the Liberals. And so yeah, the Trump effect has been both in terms of what he's done, but also I think a negative reaction to anything that seems too much like him